Hey everybody, welcome to the Rhett Sever podcast, where everybody has Sever fever and says it's on at last. Yeah, and this time I'm not gonna laugh at myself, because I always laugh at myself and then tell myself how dumb I am or how silly I am for singing that song, and I'm not gonna do that this time, because I'm amazing and I love myself, and I am really struggling to, find self-love. No, I'm just kidding. See, I did it again. I can't help myself. Anyway, the thing is my self-love is improving. That's all that matters. My guest this time is Lehman Weichselbaum, who I met at Viviana Duncan's amazing open mic, Stark Reality, and we've probably known each other for like 7 years now or something. Don't you think?
Wow, maybe. Yeah, the numbers always come out bigger than you think. It's like, well, yeah, we've been hanging out for 6 months, 16 years, man.
Because you've been going for as long as it's been going, right?
No, she goes back to 2007.
But how far did you go back with the mic?
Maybe a year or two before the pandemic. Well, I forget, did you start coming after I did? How long have you been going there?
I've been going there since like 2013, 14.
Oh, no, you precede me.
So you're saying you went there for the first time in 2018?
Maybe, 19? Yeah, probably. You saw me. Yeah, when you saw me for the first time, you would have thought.
So that's 5 years.
A new rookie.
So then we've known each other 5 years. Then
that's long enough.
Yeah, and me and Lehman always have these great conversations after the mic, and so we thought we would just continue it on my podcast.
The mic, the Viviana Stark Reality open mic. If you're anywhere near Midtown Manhattan on certain days of the month, once or twice a month, is a true, rare breeding ground for some of the best minds of our generation and location. Truly, I think Rhett would agree with me. And it's one of those phenomena that sort of happen by a kind of natural force. Viviana herself may have a lot to do with it because she is an exceptional human being. Rhett, you may have talked about her in the past on your...
Yeah, she promotes a safe space and an open, artistic, no rules, free zone environment.
Yeah, and but somehow, and it's one of the joys and mysteries of the open mic, as in other phenomena around this planet and around New York and specifically, is that things just seem to coalesce. They just seem to happen in a time and space, and nobody knows why. We think maybe the person in the middle of it all, like Viviana, has something to do with it, but it's hard to quantify, to put your finger on it or stop it in its tracks. It's just, you just dig it for the miracle that it is. And that brings me and Rhett together.
Yeah, basically, it's Viviana's law of attraction. What her energy is attracting those people. Yeah. And so, but Lehman, you kind of laughed at that. Why?
I laugh because it's funny, and it's funny because it's true.
So you do believe in the law of attraction?
Among inanimate particles and human beings, of course.
Right, so for you it's more scientific, which really everything does boil down to science, really, right?
Yeah, even the things that can't be explained by science, which is most of human life, fall into some kind of science.
Yeah, but what can be explained by science is the perfect, amazing periodic table of elements, which are not arbitrarily numbered, that are numbered at least... The stable ones are 1 through 118. Once you get to 119, it is the first unstable element, which is interesting because what is 119 backwards? 9/11, an emergency. Why is it an emergency? Because it's nuclear unstable. Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah, that's some heavy-duty gematria.
Oh, what is gematria?
Oh, gematria, the Gentiles know about it too by now. Gematria is an old Jewish mystical Kabbalistic concept that, and other cultures do it too, but Jews love to do it. You take numbers and you arrange and rearrange numbers, and it tells you the truth. It's like
the movie Pi.
It's like a Ouija board without the board.
Right. Have you seen the movie Pi?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Maybe, kind of. It's been a while, but yeah. Let's go with that.
I just saw the 25th anniversary screening at Village East, and it's amazing. It's right, that guy goes crazy because he sees numbers everywhere.
Right.
And he's trying to make sense of everything through numbers. And the thing is the beauty of life is right. Everything does come down to science and numbers and all this stuff, but ultimately what is not explained is what? The energy that ultimately makes up an atom. We don't know where the fuck it comes from. It's just this magnetic energy that ultimately comes down to light. There is no such thing as matter. Everything is energy and light, right?
Yeah.
And so the unexplainable, basically also the chaos of the universe. I explain it to myself as I think the universe is a perfect design, but it created the illusion of chaos so that it avoids the Heisenberg effect on itself. Isn't this interesting? Because, the Heisenberg effect, where you observe something, you change it inherently just by observing it.
Yeah.
Because why does that happen? Because we're also energy. So when we're looking at and relating to other energy, we're like an atom, right? It's a force field of energy. That's why everything can be explained in metaphors. Everything's a fucking metaphor for something else. Why? Because ultimately everything works the same. It's all fractals and atomic energy, force fields relating in context to each other, right? The force fields of an atom, they're only basically they're reacting to the other force field, because ultimately electrons, protons, neutrons, these are not dots in space. They are when we measure them. Why? Because we're projecting ourselves onto the atom. So when we measure it, it looks like a dot in space. But that's only because we're projecting that onto it. An atom is a whole force field. The electron, proton, neutron of an atom, it's a whole force field relating to the other force fields. Everything, because that's why we say nothing exists in a vacuum. I say nothing exists in a vacuum except dust bags and science experiments, because that's kind of the exceptions. But anyway, we say nothing exists in a vacuum because everything is relation to something else, because everything is one system. This is something everybody realizes on psychedelics, because psychedelics are the key to our pineal gland, which is the key to the Akashic collective consciousness of everything. What do you think, Lehman?
Well, you're painting a vast and interconnected and complex but interconnected universe. But I'm kind of second guessing you, and I believe you would also say, but that doesn't mean everything is predictable.
And I didn't say it was.
Yeah, but you're not implying or saying, and I think that's an important point to make.
But that's interesting. Why did you almost maybe think I might be implying perfection or predictability?
Well, because you're talking about an interconnected universe that makes things happen under certain laws, and even though the interconnections may be not something you would expect to think of on your own, a little study, a little thought gives you those interconnections, and they're kind of mind-blowing. But it also gives you the danger here, I suppose. But that's not what you're saying. But the danger isn't thinking that with all this interconnectedness between the different realms and worlds and dimensions of our time and space, the end result is that it gives you a behavior all across the board, both in life forms and non-life forms, that is in some way predictable and quantifiable and not surprising in the end, even if it seems surprising. In the moment.
We're in the context of the rules of this matrix.
I think what makes life interesting, and I believe you believe it, but I know you're going to go there with another one of your
pontifications,
cosmic interlocutions is
What is that? Interlocutious.
I think the point you want to make is that with all of this interconnectedness and all of this seemingly leaving nothing to chance or randomness, there is a prodigious amount of unpredictability and miraculousness in our lives. That's the question. Does that mean that, yes, much miraculous and mind-blowing, and we've been even talking about examples in our personal lives of just crazy shit that happens out of nowhere, and that stories we hear from people, even anecdotally. The question is, does this perfect interlocking between inside this universe and between universes still tell us that nothing is truly predictable, or is the unpredictability of it all in itself, if you look at it from far enough away with all the available numbers and data, is unpredictability itself somehow in the end entirely predictable? It's an old philosophical question, but since you're going there and you're using scientific tools that are very 20th and 21st centuries, can we say that even the unpredictable is in the end predictable and can be forecast before it happens with deadly accuracy? And even if it seems surprising, miraculous, and where's it coming from us? There's some way of demonstrating, this is the way things are going to happen, this is the way things were destined to happen, and what happened was the only way it could happen, even though it seems like entirely the opposite to you. That's my question.
Right. It's kind of like, car crashes are chaos, and we don't know when they're going to happen, but we know they are going to happen. Right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, but are you saying that in the end, even though the car crash happens, and of course they're always unpredictable, very few people crash their car into another car on purpose. Are you saying in the end that somehow, somewhere, somebody or something can prove that, that crash is going to happen, nothing could stop it from happening, it's in the cars, it's in the stars, it's in the laws of the physical universe?
Well, I'm just saying that a car crash details are not predictable. But the fact that a car crash is going to happen is a fact, is predictable.
But not that necessarily that car crash in that time in that place.
Right, I'm saying car crashes in general are a fact.
Which is insurance companies know.
Exactly. That's a good point.
But you're going beyond.
Insurance companies exist because of chaos.
But you're going beyond the data crunching and probability, I-Ching throwing of the insurance.
Wait, I-Ching throwing?
Metaphorically speaking. But
say what does that mean? I need to know.
Oh, you know what the I-Ching is?
No.
That's when you throw sticks and they tell you, it's like a kind of fortune telling. It's like reading tarot cards, except it's Chinese.
Pick up sticks.
Yeah, it's Chinese. You throw sticks, and then if you know how to read the sticks tell you.
Oh, I have heard of that, but I forgot what it's called. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I was using that metaphorically.
Right.
So,
right. The idea that the sticks are gonna seem like chaos, but really there is not. There's a perfect reading
statistical analysis in insurance companies is a very basic form of what you're talking about, but you're going way beyond that. You're going into the hinterland sciences and really grabbing everything you can in the available and even not so available sciences, and saying that things follow a pattern.
Yes.
Even beyond what
even
the
chaos.
company's telling us. Yeah.
Even chaos follows a pattern.
In the end, is chaos only because it's read or misread that way. No, you know more about it than I do.
No, I don't, because I've heard this term, but I haven't really looked it up yet. What is chaos theory?
I think it takes different forms, and I think
because it kind of sounds like an oxymoron, kind of. Do you know what I mean? Like.
It has to do with the truly the laws of the universe and how the universe works in the big picture, and how planets move and subatomic particles move, and randomness, And yeah, we're getting very deep into the realm of like 20
This is what I
this
mean.
century's physics.
Right, this is what I mean.
So you're going to go home, Rhett, because you're equipped to handle all this mentally in a way that the rest of us are not. And you're going to bone up on chaos theory and then come back in the next podcast.
Okay. This is what I mean by the illusion of chaos.
If we took phone calls, we could say...
Which sounds like another oxymoron or counterintuitive thing, right?
Yeah.
The illusion of chaos. And what I mean by that is, right, do you know what I mean by the universe created? Because the hard thing about discussing these ideas is the unarticulation of language, because I actually don't know what I'm talking about. I've only done psychedelics, right?
Yeah.
And just overthink everything, right? Okay, so do you know what I mean when I say the universe created the illusion of chaos to avoid the Heisenberg effect? Meaning that we are the universe, right? We are the universe observing itself. Okay, so if we truly understood that as the universe, we might as well be dead and go back to the one mind that is the universe, because we've beaten the game and right, it's over, and now what do we do?
It's a word you like to use, boring, when it comes to
it's like now the universe is bored because it knows everything again.
Well, let me answer the question in a slightly different way.
So it created the illusion of chaos to not observe itself.
Okay.
And so then it avoids the Heisenberg effect.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So through chaos, because part of our chaos is just as far as we know, as far as scientific evidence is concerned, all we are is bodies shot out of a pussy one day, and we don't know what the fuck is up. Scientifically, that's all we can say.
Can we interrupt the podcast just for a minute?
Yeah.
And go on your phone and very quickly look up the Wikipedia entry for chaos theory and read that first introductory paragraph they always have?
Yeah.
And see if
that's a good
takes
idea.
us anywhere.
Ooh, good idea.
Because we're deep thinkers.
Yeah, let's see.
You know, Wikipedia is a tool created for deep thinkers like us.
And nothing says a deep thinker more than the first paragraph you read on Wikipedia.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the storehouse of all the world's knowledge. That one paragraph.
You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
A deep thinker is more about than just the first paragraph on Wikipedia, Lehman. You get what I'm saying? I'm making fun of ourselves.
Well...
Anyway, chaos theory is an interdisciplinary area of scientific study and branch of mathematics focused on underlying patterns and deterministic laws of dynamical systems that are highly sensitive to initial conditions and were once thought to have completely random states of disorder and irregularity. That's an interesting phrase. Were once thought to have completely random states of disorder and irregularities.
Right.
Chaos theory states that within the apparent randomness of chaotic complex systems, their underlying patterns, interconnection, constant feedback loops, repetition, self-similarity, fractals, and self-organization, the butterfly effect, an underlying principle of chaos, describes how a small change in one state of a deterministic nonlinear system can result in large differences in a later state, meaning there is sensitive dependence on initial conditions. A metaphor of this behavior is that a butterfly flapping its wings in Texas can cause a tornado in Brazil.
I knew they were going there.
So that is very amazing.
Well, that's kind of just what you were talking about.
What?
Chaos theory. I mean, you were in your own way encapsulating what sounds like. Yeah, we've heard some of this before. The basic precepts of chaos theory in your own way, but you were not knowing by your own candor very little about chaos theory as such. But that's interesting. You see, you're a chaos theorist without knowing it. Like being a poet, you don't know it. You're a chaos theorist.
Right. Which I think what you mean is, we use. It's almost like chaos theory. It's almost like what do they call it in science? The statement. What's the statement? Fuck.
Hypothesis.
Hypothesis. Thank you. It's like a hypothesis, meaning, we think it's chaos,
Right.
but really we know better.
Well, that goes back to our car crash. So it sounds like, according to maybe some branches of chaos theory, we'd have to read more into the Wikipedia entry,
Yeah.
that car crash you're talking about was in fact determinable down to the last detail, down to the color of the socks that the drivers are wearing.
Right, okay, so it's determinable on some level, but not a level that we're capable of determining.
Right. The human mind may never get there. The machines we have, AI or not, may never.
The calibrators, the barometers.
It's something that could be either before or after the fact, in fact, fixed and determined. But okay, so let's ask the question this way: assuming any of this is true, does that mean when we have these miraculous what the fuck moments, both for good and bad?
Yeah.
Are we kidding ourselves? Or are those true moments? Like in the long reach of science, are we kidding ourselves? Or are those true moments? Is the miraculous real? Are those what the fuck moments real?
Ooh, this is amazing. When you said that,
comfort in that without thinking, yeah, but we're not being very scientific about it.
Okay, that's amazing, because when you said that, I thought of something. I thought of perspective, where what I think why you asked that question is because in the big picture perspective of the universe, we are kidding ourselves. But in our small perspective, it is a real moment. It depends on the perspective, right? And so everything depends on context and perspective and all that shit, right? You asked that question because you didn't realize you're taking into consideration, whether you knew this or not, you are taking into consideration perspective, right?
Yes, perspective, knowledge, and the way the human brain works.
Versus the big picture of the universe.
Without being fed by these highfalutin but possibly genuine and real principles of science, advanced science.
And only hypotheses which we could ever dream of in terms of the big picture of the universe,
well,
right? The whole purpose, this is my belief, that we don't know where we come from. Or so basically it seems like the general human walking around thinks that us not knowing where we come from is an accidental byproduct of our existence.
Yeah.
I believe that it's not an accidental byproduct of our existence.
Yeah.
I believe it's the whole fucking point to our existence. Us not knowing where we come from is the whole fucking point. But we act like it's an accidental byproduct of our existence that we're supposed to try to figure out through science and religion. But that is just an interesting, entertaining sidebar that the universe is going through.
What you might be saying that on some high level of science, very advanced level of science, everything that happens and everything that will happens is predetermined, which goes back to the old religious questions about predetermination.
But do you know what? But also when you just said that,
choice.
Yeah,
choice versus predetermination. That's an old religious question.
Okay, but when you just said that, I realized, right, whether it's determined or not doesn't fucking matter. Because ultimately, some truth is out there that we don't know about. But the point isn't that we know that truth or not. It's just that we acknowledge there's something, and we just have to live with the fact that we're not going to fucking know.
Yeah.
And so you have to then, through deductive reasoning, realize, okay, if we're never going to fucking know because we don't have the right barometers and tools as scientists, right? Until that day comes, right now, all we can do is deductive reasoning and say, if we don't know that, it's because we're not supposed to know that at this point in time. So the whole point of our existence is that limited information, which is why I do the joke, and I'll do it again. Why did the universe create us as vessels of limited time and information to vicariously live a more interesting existence through us? Because the universe was bored knowing and being everything. What, you never did edibles and shrooms at the same time? Because the universe just wants to experience doing edibles and shrooms at the same time. Why? Because it's a greedy experience whore. And that's maybe all that we're really dealing with.
Yeah, I just thought of this one for you, Rhett. Let's go back to the insurance companies.
Okay.
And they're what look like, to them, very practical, but primitive when we start talking about these very evolved notions of science and predictability and all that.
And really, it gets down to philosophy.
What if the insurance companies, because they're big and they have a lot of people, they have a lot of smart people, and those smart people have access to all kinds of things, we assume. What if the insurance companies actually had some conduit to the kind of super scientific knowledge you're talking about? And they can actually, if they wanted to, construct a system where everything is in fact predictable, and they have the tools to tell us who's going to get sick, what they're going to get sick with, what cars are going to crash into another, every possible event on Earth, every possible mishap on Earth that would involve insurance companies. Let's say that somehow they have some kind of mutant scientist that can give them that, or some kind of alien technology. You know, there's alien technology all around us that they cop to and taken on their own in a very secret way. What if they have all that information, but they knowing if they made that information something that they used on an everyday basis and was made known to us, the general public, would simply put them out of business. Once you do away with laws of probability and the kind of statistics that insurance companies deal with, if everything is predictable, there's no need for insurance and no need for insurance companies. So they're done. So they're sitting on that information, and they're sitting on that
Which
knowledge.
is why they are very good.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Which is why they're very good at what? Denying claims. So you're right. They do have a lot of information and predictability. This is how they get around the loopholes, denying claims for their own bottom line. Because why? Our fucking, what do you call it? Capitalist system is just about grow bigger. Who fucking cares why? Just grow bigger. And it's getting out of hand.
Do you invite your listeners to weigh in on these questions? Do you get feedback?
They can leave comments at the bottom, yeah.
Okay. Would you...
Preferably in their grandma's basement as an angry incel, but anyway.
You can invite your listeners, if they have any speculations or information or hard facts on this question about insurance companies and the super perfected scientific knowledge that would make everything known and predictable before it happens, let us know. If you're a resident alien, no pun intended, on this planet Earth, and you know something about from another galaxy technology, and where the insurance companies get a piece of it, by all means let us know. And of course, your version of American English, as you reconstructed it, of course, through your alien adaptation of earthly languages, and of course your terrestrial Homo sapiens appearance. Because we know that back in your home planet, you don't look or talk like anything you do. So don't let
How did you know I was from another planet?
I think that's your next podcast, Rhett.
Dude, Lehman, this is amazing. I always joke that I'm from another planet.
Joke.
And that I was sent here to study humans. How did you pick up on that?
I think that's your next podcast.
Because I really look at things as anthropologically.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the premise of that show, Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah. I know people like you, and you're not alone. There may be other aliens like you. If your thinking is of alien origin, I know other people. Of course, they don't think exactly like you, but they go out to those realms. So that makes them possible alien candidates too. Yeah. Maybe you know some of them. Maybe
David Bowie and Bjork.
Maybe somewhere at 3 a.m, you all get together and hatch your next scheme to dominate or befriend us poor lowly terrestrials.
It's called.
But you don't have to.
It's called dominating the bestsellers in science fiction.
You're right. Yeah, you don't have to tell us now, but
I just did though.
Yeah.
It's dominating the science fiction genre.
All right, so
I'm writing a science fiction screenplay right now about future psychology. Why? Because most science fiction is about fucking bullshit technology and extrapolating that shit, or eugenics, or whatever, and it's never about social evolution. Because we know through time we socially evolve.
some of them go there. I mean, like,
Yeah,
H.G. Wells,
but
for
it's
example.
unfortunately a very small subgenre. I am
read science
hearing some more of these things, and there is
You
a
read science fiction?
some.
Yeah, okay, no,
And
there's a
so
lot.
I have
It's
to.
a very specific and very busy field, and there's a substantial amount of work that you're talking about that's going on. You may want to check it out.
Right, in social evolution.
I can name one. I know one guy who's very politically left, and he writes best-selling science fiction. Terry Bisson, Bisson,
Do you know any of the premises of his stories?
I know that he's very. I haven't read much into his books, but I know he's very politically minded, socially minded, and there's a tradition of science fiction writers who do go there. You could say Arthur Clarke went there. You could say Isaac Asimov go there.
Can
It
you?
may be more of a rule than an exception.
Okay, so can you talk about examples of social evolution they talk about?
Well, that goes back to the movies. Well, one obvious example, which I think qualifies as science fiction, is the original, which is based on, I think, a French novel, Planet of the Apes. Can't get more social than that. The original and all its sequels.
Okay, so the idea that different species take over as a social evolution. That's a real big picture social evolution. I'm just talking about the social evolution of humans. That, like
Well, it
thousands or
but
hundreds.
obviously, Planet of the Apes addresses the human condition by using.
Right, we become the
hyper-evolved
minorities.
A population warring with humans as a
Yeah, but the thing is it brings in another species, and so it doesn't focus on our social
Well,
evolution.
look at the movies we've seen, like 2001.
It's, I mean,
does that go to social?
Wait though. Planet of the Apes is really just an allegory for racism.
Yeah, but it's science fiction.
Duh. Lehman. Wait. It's just an allegory for racism.
Okay.
It's really not that advanced social evolution discovery. It's not that interesting,
Maybe by
actually.
implication.
It's interesting from a 60s standpoint, yeah, but it's like, yeah, and it's a classic, movie franchise, but ultimately it's for the box office, entertainment, and it's not for intellectuals anymore. It maybe had an intellectual spark, but it's over. It's now in movie land, and it's not interesting. It's for popcorn eaters. Sorry to be condescending and an asshole, but it's like, that's not.
Yeah.
Do you have another example?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Plenty more.
Okay.
There's because science fiction has always been a tool for commenting on the contemporary human condition from the standpoint of the future.
Right, it always
Again,
extrapolates.
more the
Sorry.
rule than the exception.
Right. To me, it's always extrapolating something in the current.
It's not just space opera thrills. The best of them go there.
Right, okay, but for me, this is what a lot of science fiction does. It extrapolates a problem that we currently have to a horror. That's why science fiction and horror kind of go together a lot. Like Alien or all these, all these things. Giant anteaters and all these things. Basically, it extrapolates a problem we have now to horrific conditions in the future, and they're always cautionary tales. Basically, like
Right,
if we continue on this road, we're gonna fuck things up, and let's not do that, right? So to me, that is great, but it's like that's kind of been done to death now. I want to explore how we are gonna be socially interacting differently. For example, we've stopped burning witches. We stopped hanging out at public hangings for entertainment. And I think a pattern I see in humans is that we are slowly but surely appreciating our pain as our growth and evolution. So I think that's what I extrapolated in my science fiction story is we are going to realize the importance of embracing pain, Not because we love the pain, but because we know it's going to end in a positive growth. Right? Because a lot of growth happens through pain. Like the literal, metaphor of, you feel the burn in the gym, and that's what grows your muscles.
Okay.
You got to go through pain first. And a lot of the things in our lives that, all the shitty things that happen in our lives, a lot of the cliche that people say is, well, actually, I wouldn't change it for the world because it gave me this, this, and this, right? And so we're slowly but surely realizing our pain is very important, and we should stop avoiding it, because now, in general, and in the last, thousands of years, we've been avoiding pain, which is why we avoid our growth. But in the future, we're going to realize, wait a minute, pain is not chaos. Pain is just the negative thing the universe created as a gym to work out and to become stronger. That's what negativity is. It's really not this icky, chaos that we think it is. We're going to realize in the future, pain is our friend.
It's an important, essential resource
to growing and evolution.
The best people. Better and the best people.
For example, one of the previews I give in my science fiction story is there's two people in public, they run into each other, and they're like, oh my God, congratulations on your first car accident. You're going to learn so much from this experience.
That's funny, because it's funny.
Yeah, and so basically, it's about people loving being in pain.
Okay, I don't know if that's been done, but you say you have stories.
This is my idea.
Have you finished this story? Have you written it?
I've written a lot of it, yeah. And it's all based on this premise that we need to embrace our pain, love our pain, because in the future, and that's why I don't even care that I'm
aspire to inquire about each other's happiness, pain rather, in the way we inquire about our happiness.
Right,
so
because we know
in this future, pain becomes the new happiness.
Right, because it's and again, it's not because it's about the pain, but we know it's going to lead to happiness.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah,
like they say in the gym. Okay.
One of the bad jokes.
So you're doing it. You're the guy that's doing it.
So one of the bad jokes I wrote about this is like there was this burn victim on Oprah, and I'm like, well, this person got burned in a car accident, but guess what? They got to be on Oprah.
That's a good one.
And so, right, it's a very crass joke. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, flippant or whatever about victims. But I'm just saying, like, that person would have never been on Oprah without that.
Well, that really happens. That's how people get on the old Jerry Springer show. They have horrible lives at home, but hey, gets them on the Jerry Springer show. Everybody wins, and that's
if you value being on TV.
The Jerry Springer show and all those other talk shows go on for years and years and years. People go through shit and they want the world to see it, and they're attention junkies, and it's an engine that never stops.
And let's be very clear, the joke being is that you should not value a shitty, shallow 15 minutes of fame, but anyway.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop them. So
I know, right.
So back to the first premise. Wherever we are or not on the science, we can safely, with a clear conscience and a spirit of fun and wonderment, pursue our moments of what the fuck miraculous. Where did this come from? Moments with the same undiluted pleasure that we have in the past. We shouldn't let science stop the joy we have in those moments in our lives.
Oh, wait, that's interesting. Why did you think science was stopping the joy?
Because we were just talking about how if you take it out somewhere far enough, science will tell you that, we know this is going to happen.
But how does that take away joy?
Well, if we have it in our heads that, this is not as miraculous what the fuck as we think it is, because somewhere out there in the world of science and the way in the great invisible clockwork of the universe, there's nothing special or miraculous about this at all, really. But we shouldn't let that get in the way.
Ooh, this is interesting. So you're kind of equating.
That's what you're saying.
Okay, but wait though. You're kind of equating mystery with joy.
Well, the joy of
mystery.
Well, the mystery that just kind of erupts in our faces in undetermined moments is always a kind of joy. Oh, guess what happened to me? Do you believe this happened to me?
Right.
Hopefully, it's a good thing. But even if it's a bad thing, or a not so good thing, people go, "Wow, that's mind blowing!" And it's like a rip in the universe that you get to look through and see maybe some hazy patterns on the other side. And even if there's again some pain involved, It's a privileged moment.
Of basically appreciating the mystery of not knowing what's going to happen next.
And then something really crazy happens.
Totally unpredictable.
Yeah, and
right. That's the whole point of life.
Yeah,
You're talking about trying to predict shit and stuff. It's like no, that's not the point.
You tell yourself that something out there, somewhere out there, science will tell us, yeah, it was entirely predictable. That should not get in the way of living those moments and extracting as much as big a buzz and as big a charge and boost that we can get out of it.
Right, because you can really argue that that's the whole point of life.
Yeah.
What I said is...
So fuck science. On one level.
Right,
I mean,
because...
in the same breath as, let's go for the science. Let's go for the science and fuck science. As you say,
well, right,
two contradictions can coexist.
Yes, exactly.
That might be an example.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, like go for the science, but don't let that get away of don't let it get away.
Because it's like
don't let it get in the way of a good time.
Right, which is what a lot of people would say because they think science is boring. I don't, but anyway, because I'm smart enough to realize it's amazing mind-blowingness. But anyway, the point is that boring, you can't deny
killjoying. If this is
right.
If science is this is inevitable in every way, shape, or form, we just can't see it. It's revelatory, but it also on a human level, kind of dispiriting.
Yeah, if we could predict everything, that would be such a killjoy.
In a way, yeah. There's been stories and movies about that too.
Right, and of like basically that being the ultimate lesson of the story.
Maybe.
Kind of. Yeah, because it's true. Like, right, like what I said is science and. I mean, I'll always agree with science over religion, right? But the thing is right, even though I agree with science, I still understand it as an interesting, side project of the universe, which really, in terms of our perspective of the matrix we're in, I really truly think the whole point of our lives is we're not supposed to know what the point of our lives is, right? That's totally my philosophy on the meaning of life.
Yeah.
Is we're not supposed to know the meaning of life.
The crapshoot principle.
What is that?
You know what a crapshoot is.
The randomness
with the dice, you roll the dice.
But is it focusing
roll the
on?
dice.
Okay, but is it
random?
Is it okay? So it's focusing on the randomness.
But the science will tell you, when you roll the dice, every time you roll the dice, it's everywhere it comes up. No, it was in the stars. Somehow, somewhere, the universe knows what's going to happen.
It's right. That's what I mean. The illusion of chaos. It seems like chaos, but it's not.
Yeah. If you're going to roll a 7 or a 6 or a 4, or if you're going to draw a hand, if you're going to
draw there's all the conditions
of
queen
and
how you rolled it in your hands, how you threw it, the density of the air which the dice went through, and the way it hit the wall, and it tumbled a little bit, and the force with which you threw the dice. It's true. There's all those factors.
I've been taken with the idea, and it's kind of a boring idea, but at the same time, I sense that there may be something there that I'm not.
Well, it's a beautiful metaphor for my ultimate philosophy of life.
Okay.
Is that science and religion is just a byproduct that we think is supposed to tell us the meaning of life, but really, us not knowing where we come from is not an accidental byproduct. It's the whole point to our existence.
Right,
the meaning of life is asking the question, what is the meaning of life?
Yeah, that sounds
and it's
vague.
Not about the answer.
It's
about the question.
That's vague. That sounds vaguely Socratic, but okay.
What is Socratic? Tell me.
Socratic means you keep on asking. You don't stop asking questions. I think
that's the meaning of existence.
I think that about sums it up.
That is the meaning of existence.
Yeah.
Continuing to ask questions and continuing to evolve, because negativity or pain is a catalyst to which you eternally grow.
Sure.
Through the generations of whatever life form is existing or whatever sentient being is existing throughout the universe, us basically dying and rebirthing is so that we don't atrophy in our existence and we let a new thing grow,
right?
So that it can evolve. Because we wouldn't be evolving if we were the same being we were, the same caveman we were thousands of years ago that never died.
Yeah.
Like oh my gosh, I just realized if we were a vampire caveman. This reminds me of my joke about
doomed to knuckle drag across the earth.
yeah, this that's funny. No, this reminds me of my joke about this is why do Christians not believe in cavemen? Because they still are cavemen. It's hard to see the forest from the trees when you're a fucking tree.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
because that limited mind, right? That's not evolved enough. It needs an answer, so it can't just exist not knowing, right?
Yeah. That's what religion feels. Well, we know what religion is. Religion was what we call the organized religions came up thousands of years ago. Before, we don't want to overvalue and overdo science. That's always a hazard. But science gives us something, and this is before science. And what religion and philosophy, pre-scientific philosophy, does, it fills in the gaps that science filled centuries later. Now, what happens, of course, the well-known problem is people still hew to those ideas that religion gives us, the origins of the universe, evolution, always a big one. The Bible says this, science tells us that. And, this before science, the biblical accounts of creation before we knew about evolution made perfect sense. Now we know about evolution. Anybody saying that, we had Adam and Eve, and we did not have the evolution of the human species coming from simian ancestor life forms, it's not going to hold up, except to the true believers. But to everybody who's not a true believer, they look a little silly.
Right.
It's not dangerous when they start yelling too loud.
Actually, this is weird. This is something I should know. Is what is the average Christian's answer to why there are, what do you call it? What's a Christian's answer to the caveman bones?
The Jews do it too, because the Jews have, not so much as Christians, the Jews always, I grew up among religious Jews, and they also stick to the biblical account. They have what some of us might call tortured explanations for how that works. Like, for example, I remember hearing God created the world in 7 days. Okay. But those 7 days may not be the 24-hour days we know. They might stretch out for millions of years. So that's a backdoor way of talking about evolution. Well, it's evolution through millions of years. Yeah, that's true.
But the Jews believe in Adam and Eve.
A day in 7 days could be 7 million or 70 million years.
Because the Jews...
you still talk about evolution, but you gotta, also expect the creation account.
Okay, but I forgot
messing around with, the numbers and the... Yeah, so again, I got a lot of that growing up in yeshiva.
Okay, but I forgot.
You kind of admire the poetry of it. But at some point, unless you really want to stay with the faith, and many do, many of my friends do, you kind of want to walk away with it. It's just too much thinking. Unless you're a true believer, it gets a little torture.
Well, that's why they just cut themselves off from thinking and just cut their education off at the Bible. But I forgot.
And they say, the bones are planted by the devil or something. I don't know.
Oh, right. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Right. So, right. I guess I did know the answer. Okay, anyway. But I forgot. The Jews believe in Adam and Eve as well.
Yeah, right. It's the Old Testament. That's shared by both
I forgot
religions.
about that.
Yeah.
So, right. I forgot. Right. I always forget. Christianity is a cult branch off of Judaism.
Yes.
Because Jesus was a Jew.
Roughly speaking.
Right. Wow. Isn't that interesting? People forget Christianity is a offshoot of Judaism.
Yeah, of course.
Which is why they say Christian Judeo.
The Christians don't forget, and that's why they've been after the Jews.
Wait, it does seem like the Christians forget, though.
Yeah. Well,
because they're being very anti-Semitic.
Yeah, thank you for giving us the Old Testament. Now go away. If you don't go away, we'll kill you. Your
right,
job
because
is done. Your task is fulfilled.
You don't believe in our Messiah.
Now go, yeah. So,
right.
Disappear.
They're very anti-Semitic.
Make you disappear.
They're anti-Semitic.
Yeah, that's one simple way of seeing it. But
also, do you know why I think anti-Semitism pervades even in our, anti-racism times, it seems like, is because people think that just because people are white, you can't be racist against them. It's like, no.
But Jews ain't white.
You know what I mean? They're light skinned in
I know.
general. Most of them are light skinned or whatever.
That's a fairly
and
rich-
so
that's a fairly
I
rich
think
question.
I think that's why people are okay with their anti-Semitism, because they think, oh well, no, they're white. It doesn't matter. I'm not hating. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why there's that book that says Jews don't count. It's because Jews are mostly white or seen as white.
Or they see themselves. That's a complicated question, a complex question,
And so people justify their fucking hate.
talked about among Jews too. You know,
That's why they justify their
some
hate.
Jews get offended if you say they're not white. I mean, they really take it. They really take it to heart.
Oh, like the way you say Jewish?
No, the way you say white.
Oh, they wouldn't consider themselves white.
No,
Any Jew.
They do consider themselves white. If you used to say that Jews aren't white in some important historical, sociological way, they get offended. Yeah, what do you mean we ain't white? And it's a little scary.
Which is so
It's a little
funny.
scary.
Which is so funny because it's like, well, why are you so worried about being white? Because you're racist.
Are you questioning our Jewish yet
So many people-
somehow alienated
But
background?
that's so funny because what does that sound like? A white supremacist.
Yeah, exactly.
They're valuing their whiteness,
Well, they're using that.
which is why I made the joke in the park to the Hasidic Jewish people who ask me all the time if I'm Jewish. And I'm like, well, why are you so concerned I'm pure blood? That sounds a little Nazi-ish to me.
Oh, I love that. What do they
Because
say?
it's like they just awkwardly, silently walk away or ignore me because they know they're acting like they're enemies and they're being ridiculous.
Well, very much now, and this is coming from...
They're being hypocritical.
This is coming from progressive Jews. I mean, they're talking about Israel, especially now with the whole Israel-Gaza conflagration. About, that's a... just because Jews are the victim of a kind of white supremacism, historically, in Europe certainly, doesn't mean they don't bring it into their own lives and contemporary history, say, in places like the Middle East.
And that's the karmic, dispute is that...
They bring a certain and you hear this from Jews, they bring a certain white supremacism to the Arabs who are not white.
And obviously this is not like all Jewish people that would be anti-Semitic. I'm not generalizing to all, you can't do that with any demographic. The problem is the hate and the privilege, not the demographic. My point being is that, but in general, the karmic dispute is you can't fight racism with racism, right? That's hypocrisy. You have to fight it with love because there's no other way.
I like your point of view. It's very like Martin Luther King, Gandhi, or following those footsteps.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It would be great if we could prove that it works.
Well, I think we have started to prove that it works.
Yeah, I hope so. Hope you're right.
Yeah.
That's something to talk about.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I've been taken with the idea that, because you're talking about the present and predictability and inevitability, right? I talk about science, how science brings itself to the concept of inevitability. And this sounds very boring and obvious, but I think, and maybe I'm not advanced enough to dig deeper and find the meaning I sense is there in it, and am able to work with it. But once something happens, it can be seen looking back as inevitable.
Yeah, if we knew all the conditions that brought to that circumstance.
The simple fact that something happened makes it, by definition, inevitable. If it happened, it was meant to happen. Period. Because it happened.
Right. Whether you see things as chaos or predestiny.
Yeah, and that's a simple fact, and it's kind of boring and obvious, but.
But you bring up a great point.
It nags at me a little bit.
No, you bring up
onto something. Is there something underneath all that?
No, yes, you
under my boring, obvious observation.
You have a very good point, because I realized this before.
Clear?
You bring up a good point, because I realized this before all my psychedelic and overthinking and everything. Over 10 years ago, when I was a simple-minded boy, I came to that conclusion as well. I realized, wait a minute. something's happened, it doesn't fucking matter if you believe in chaos or predestiny.
Yeah.
What's ever going to happen is going to happen.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Your opinion on it is not going to change anything. Right?
Yeah. But
which is what that reminds me of another joke I wrote.
Once it does happen and it's fixed in the past, there's nothing else to say about it that it was inevitable. It was meant to happen. It was going to happen. There's no argument around that. There are no alternatives.
Right.
We don't know. There may be, but we don't know of any alternative universes where, like Groundhog Day, where something could have happened differently. Once it happened in our realm of our dimension of time and space, it was meant to happen, and it was inevitable.
Which reminds
and
me,
it was written in the stars. As weird as it might be, as unforeseen as it might be in the moment, in a half second of hindsight, you have to say it was inevitable. There's no other way it could have happened simply because it did happen. Does that sound boring?
No.
So obvious that it's boring, or do you think there might be something?
No, I think it's an important philosophical. Wait, Lehman. It's an important philosophical pontification. No, I'm just kidding. No, it really is because of this. I realized something. A Christian might say sexuality is a choice. A liberal might say, wait.
I'm not going to say that.
A liberal might say we're all on the bisexual spectrum.
Uh-huh.
Well, what does that sound like? The same fucking thing, right? Do you know why? Because life is what it is, despite your bias agenda opinion about it, asshole.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is perspective.
Right.
What I realized one day on psychedelics is this. Whatever the facts are, they're out there. Whether it doesn't matter about our opinion on the facts or what we know about the facts or whatever.
Yeah.
The point is that there's facts out there.
Yeah.
And they are what they are,
Yeah.
despite our limited information on them.
Yeah.
And so my point being is that you have to be open-minded and have a critical thinking mind and think for yourself, because just because your parents loved you doesn't mean they were correct about politics and religion. Another one of my sayings is because you have to, just to evolve and survive in the future, we have to be open-minded, critical thinkers who are thinking for ourselves, and we have to realize why we think the way we think. Are we doing it because our mentor loved us, or are we doing it because we truly did some critical thinking for ourselves? And this is, I think, important for us to evolve in the future.
Is that a question?
It's my philosophy that I wanted you to respond to.
You're saying that we can have feelings or perspectives, or even or not in any, like, say, partisan sense, like we believe this and we're taking this side, but just as the kind of basic mental filtering process we undertake, saying, well, this is happening because of this, because that's what it looks like to us. Even that falls away from the way things happen in the way they happen. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a good point that you said about taking sides, because, right, a lot of people take sides because it's easier. Because it doesn't require thinking. Because what I realize is when you think for yourself, you don't pick a side. The sanity is in the center. That's what I say. That's why I say with my politics, I'm a centrist, but I lean a little left just because you got to make up for the social politics mistakes of the past.
Well, in that personal way, I would say this about myself. I'd like to think it's true. I have positions, I have beliefs, I have some fixed ways of looking at things in a personal way and certainly in a political way. But there's a part of me, and I think I'm not flattering myself, there's a part of me that, at least small part of me that enjoys having my prejudices and my predisposed beliefs and opinions challenged and even upended and sabotaged at times. I like having there's a part of me that I think I can genuinely say enjoys having my expectations subverted. Because I think that's part of life.
Yes. Chaos you couldn't have predicted.
Well, there's a part of me that enjoys, at least some of the time, I think, having my then there's a part of me that enjoys at times, I think, being proven wrong.
Yeah, because it means what? You evolved. You grew. The pain of your ego dying and being wrong, the phoenix that rises up is growth.
Yeah, and it's more than that. It's also going back to the miraculous what the fuck moments we have. You go in thinking this is true, and then you have something that completely blows up what you're thinking. It can be a little painful, a little disturbing, a little disorienting, but there's a part of you that welcomes it, because it keeps things fresh.
Yeah.
You don't get stuck in. Yep. You want to have principles. We all want to have principles. We want to teach our children principles, but we don't want to get stuck in them at the same time.
Which is why the principles we should teach our children is to do not hold on to things. Constantly be open-minded to growing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to have moments of being proven wrong when it comes to, let's say, simple, basic matters of race or ethnic differences or gender differences.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of bedrock. But I can't even think of any examples offhand. But every now and then it happens. You think, or even on a very personal, individual basis, you think something about this person or these people, and then something happens, and you just kind of have maybe not even a fully internally articulated sense of this or that, but it's just kind of, let's say, a prejudice, let's say, or an expectation, and then something comes along that completely blows it up. And
demographics are like eye color. It doesn't mean anything.
It's also it's painful, but also refreshing. What did you just say?
Demographics are like eye color. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of evidence for this.
Yeah.
Which is why it is very stupid to be any part of racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia.
For example, we talk about rich people.
Classism. Okay.
Yeah, there are moments in your personal life where a rich person, and I mean they really are, and they really play the part. They're Republican, and they generally say things that you think conservative rich people say, but then they'll indulge in an act of completely unexpected to you generosity, and even a generosity extended towards yourself. When it happens to you, it changes everything. You got to be careful about that. But when it gets that personal,
what happens to you?
It can color the landscape, recolor the landscape. I mean, something as simple as they can afford to pick up the check, and they do. And there's no reason they have to, and you think, well, they're not the kind of people who do that. Okay, hungry artists, say, hungry poet, yeah, we'll take that. And you think, well, they're not people who would normally, according to the stereotypes I have of rich, privileged, conservative white people, do that. And it doesn't sound like much, but and I'm not a starving person on the street, and that would be a whole other moment. But
nobody's a stereotype.
It still rocks me. It kind of rocks me on my heels when that happens.
When people don't play to the stereotype expected?
Yeah, and that sounds like a small thing, and maybe it's a little too subjective, even a little selfish, but that's one moment I can think of.
Right, because part of the inevitable, unexpected unpredictability of life is that, right, we take, we do this thing where we for some reason hold on to these preconceived notions that we don't know why the fuck we're basing it in our head for whatever reason, because of our past experiences, which were random past experiences that were only random to us.
Yeah, it's kind
and
of...
we don't realize...
It's a rough guess at best.
If we had all the information, we would have no expectations, because if we had all the information, we would know that demographics follow no pattern.
But, when you say, for example, if always go in the direction of love than the other way. That seems to be a guiding principle in your personal life.
Always love, yes.
Yeah, you keep saying that, and we know you believe it.
Well, it's because my evidence in life has
You're not going to change
pointed...
your mind about that. Nothing will change your mind.
Because everything...
For example.
Everything I've experienced in life so far has pointed to that evidence of hate isn't the answer. It's only part of the problem, and love is the only solution.
Yeah, but I guess there are maybe other ways. I don't want to say lesser ways, but other ideas we have. It's important to have convictions, but there are maybe other some ways, some examples we can all think of where our convictions are challenged, or even for that moment demolished in ways where that can be very interesting. Here's a good example that comes to mind. You saw this movie. I think it's called The Underside. It's the one about where this black kid he's this great high school football player, gets adopted by a white Southern family.
Oh, I know that Sandra Bullock won the Best Actress Oscar for this movie.
Did?
Sandra Bullock won the Best Actress Oscar, right. But I didn't see the movie. Okay, I know the general premise.
It's a very good movie. Some might object to it because maybe it is a little racially condescending, all that, but it's a very good movie, and it presents this woman, both as acted by Sandra and as written by the screenwriter and all that. And it's based on a book, so that helps.
It's based on a true story.
It's based on some kind of best-selling book.
On a true story.
Yeah, exactly. And, she's conservative, she's white, and you'd expect different behavior from her. And in the movie, which is, I guess, based on the book, she takes in this kid, and it's all love, and the racial factor is not even under consideration. She just sees a kid who happens to be black, who's a talented athlete, and she's like on the board of the college or something, and she can do something about it, and he's having a tough time.
Do you know at what age she adopted the kid?
High school, 15, 16. But he's obviously showing an athletic prowess.
That's where it falls apart.
Why is that?
Because the skeptic, the cynic in me is saying, right, she's not racist only because now he has a new value.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But that takes you to the end. That takes you to the end after the end of the story.
Oh.
So,
okay.
But the movie's very touching and very convincing. She takes the kid.
You know what? Let's be real. If nobody's seen this movie, they deserve a spoiler alert. I deserve a spoiler alert. I'm not going to watch this stupid movie. Sorry. But can you just explain the end of the movie?
There's not much of a spoiler involved.
Then please tell us.
It's kind of predictable.
Then please tell us.
Okay, so she adopts this kid, and she's got other kids, and he's just one of the family, and he has troubles and crises and personal troubles, but she steps right in there, and again, she's a white, conservative, Republican Southern woman.
Right.
And
so basically the story is PR for their racism.
She calls him his son. She keeps calling him my son this, my son that. I'm doing this for my son. Respect my son. Give my son a break.
Yeah.
And it's a very touching family love story that defies racial expectations and all the rest of it. But it goes on. And
it sounds like the story is an Uncle Tom for their PR problem.
But that's some of the
that's the cynic in me, I know.
I didn't read it that way. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I think they more than rewarded the benefit of my doubt. And I think the movie worked.
Okay.
But here's where the story kind of doubles back on itself.
Okay.
So, to me, that's an example. It's a movie, right? But it's an example of something defying your You wouldn't expect a woman like that, white Republican,
right.
Southern, to be doing that for a black kid. Never mind that he's got skills on the gridiron, but still.
That's interesting because, right, a lot of evidence points towards that nobody's a stereotype, which is why you cannot be racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic unless you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but so I thought, and it was a family love story, all the more touching because she's coming from the back, and of course she's up against people in her own set who are not thinking like her at all.
Right,
You know,
right.
black kid, no go. You know, so he's
Right,
got
right,
problems.
right.
You know, not going to happen.
Right, and they're only giving her the benefit of the doubt because he's a star athlete.
And because she has a certain amount of clout. She's very rich,
Right.
and she has sway, you know, and all of that. So she gets
Well,
a lot.
no,
and she exploits the mileage she has coming.
They
home.
worship sports.
And she's a country club.
This is
you know,
part of their idiocracy.
You know, she's country club. She's high.
Right, and this is
high
part of
level
their
country
idiocy
club.
is they worship at the feet of sports.
Yeah, okay, but here's what gets, you know, so you walk out at the end of the movie, this is very touching, I had my, just the way I like it, I had my expectations defied, cool, great,
Okay.
you know, great, all the more reason, great, why, great movie for me. Now it's come out in recent years, so you know what happens there's an epilogue that's not in the movie. Turns out the kid, the real story is the kid who's now a grown man. I don't know if he's had an athletic career. I forget if he's had an athletic career after
Just
that.
in college or
But he's older now. He's 20s, 30s.
okay.
I mean, this is like a decade or two later.
Right.
So he's turning around now, and he's suing them. He's suing her, and he's suing the family, because now he's saying...
He's suing his mom?
He's suing the mom, you know, glowing portrait of an adoptive mother loving the black adoptee. They exploited him. They got money from him that should have come to him. They used him to win games or whatever. All that love was either not there or very qualified by ulterior expectations.
Right. He's not agreeing with the PR.
Yeah, so now I have to like take back. Now
So to him, it's a false narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
See, so that's what's so interesting.
Yeah. So I'm taking back
So basically, my cynicism
yeah,
was
yeah.
correct.
All that part about having my expectations defied.
Wow,
yeah,
I am amazing.
and I'm not alone. I got hornswoggled.
Wow, I am amazing.
If any of that is true, and there's got to be some truth to it.
Well, no, but
If he's
that
suing
totally
them.
makes sense, though.
Yeah. So she's just in the end. So she's just as her and her family, but she's just as wide and conservative, and you know, and the rest of it.
Dude,
as
but it totally
expect her
is.
to be.
It totally is what I smelt it to be, which was
And he wasn't
them.
even a member of the family like that.
Wait, Lehman.
What?
It totally turned out to be what I smelt it to be. PR, so that they can say, look
Yeah,
at,
right.
we're not racist.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, but still, I still.
Which is why you have to be so skeptical of when people put a label on something. Because it's like, why are you putting a label on it?
Yeah.
Because you're insecure that people might not know what you're talking about.
This is, but still, I'm ready.
Insecurity.
I'm ready
Labels are
I'm ready
insecurity.
to have my expectations exploded. The next rich guy to pick up my lunch, my expensive lunch check. Hey, we're back in business.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Rich conservative.
Thank you for that epilogue story.
Yeah.
Thank you for that because that
So
is
life is funny like that.
right.
Yeah.
See, it defies our expectations.
They took the miracle away from me. Hollywood took the miracle away from me.
Right, because you know,
I'm upset.
on one level,
I'm upset.
Lehman, wait, let me talk. On one level, our expectations are diverted,
Yeah.
but then on a whole nother level, they're diverted again.
I know.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
That's
they're
the
back in business.
unfoldingness of life is that
Yeah.
you can't hold on to anything. That's why I said
Yeah.
the principles we teach our kids should be don't hold on to principles.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the shit you think
All-
is there in the first place is really there.
Or always be open to another unexpected folding of the story.
Yeah, right.
Because-
the other shoe, the drop after the other shoe drops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who saw a
Rather than-
third shoe dropping?
Right,
On
because
a
we only have
on a
two.
two-legged beast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's that third shoe,
It's
man.
right, and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the forever because.
Yeah, are we humans or are we multi-ped deep sea dwellers?
But this is why I think the universe really did create us. Is it loves mystery? It loves mystery. We are in a fucking mystery right now. And it's fascinating as fuck. But guess what? It would not be fascinating as fuck if what? We knew everything. Like the universe knows everything. Right? It's bored knowing.
I meant to tell you. I don't know if we ever got there. I meant to tell you, Rhett.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about that before. What's in your book?
Yeah.
Going back to Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism.
Oh, okay. I love Madonna. Sorry.
Madonna, right.
I'm
yeah,
kidding, I'm
Kabbalah,
kidding.
right. Very good.
I'm kidding.
Good catch. Of course, Jewish religion, as is Christian religion, is full of, why did God create the universe if he was perfect and all that? Why did he need people for?
Right.
Why did he need planets for?
He needed
why
to be
did he need
entertained by
universe?
mystery.
That's actually that's corroborated in Jewish mysticism. I keep telling you, Rhett, you come with ideas that spring out of your own head, and somewhere in science or
The Bhagavad Gita.
spiritual discipline, it's already there.
Because when you do psychedelics, you can't help but come to the same conclusions as everybody because
It's not that
through deductive
it's not that
reasoning.
it's thought before. It's the opposite. It's that you're tapping into something that the great traditions have tapped into. You just don't know it.
Because,
But your head is in that place.
but I can tell you why I'm not surprised. Because when you overthink on psychedelics, like I have many times, you can't help but come to the same deductive reasoning conclusions that everybody else inevitably is coming to. Because why? The whole universe is one system working on the same battery called an atom. That's it.
Yeah, keep the windows open.
That's it.
Keep the windows open. The breeze.
But do you know what I
wait
mean,
for
though?
the breeze.
We're just coming to the same conclusions from a different angle.
The Jewish tradition says.
You can't help it.
The Jewish tradition says. I think I'm getting some of this right. The Kabbalistic tradition says. So why did God create the universe, and why did He create human beings in particular? Because the universe.
Why did He make us call him a he? Because of sexism. Anyway.
Yeah, they probably get into that. But yeah, that's a whole.
I'm kidding.
No, but that's a whole other range.
I know. That's why
That's a conversation.
This
that
is
starts
why
in the
I
20th
say.
century.
When you say God, I say universe. Yeah. But anyway, go on.
No, but this is God, and God has in Kabbalah has many manifestations.
God has the
Keep it
baggage
God.
of organized religion. That's why I say the word universe. But anyway.
I hear that. But in this case, in the Kabbalistic account, so God creates the universe. And, well, first of all, God doesn't have to create the universe, but He wants to create the universe because in His own universalist realm, before the creation of the universe, something lacks perfection. As you would say, something is boring. Something lacks perfection. So He creates the universe without...
Or it's too perfect and boring, right?
Maybe.
It doesn't lack.
Maybe.
It doesn't lack
But it creates the
perfection.
universe, and it
Wait, though, it doesn't lack perfection. It's boringly perfect.
Okay, maybe that's not far away from what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But so He's got the universe, and the universe is still lifeless. And so it's not quite enough. So He gets around to the seventh day. He gets around to creating man, the human being, Adam and Eve. So He's saying, okay, this is
Oh my God! I just realized something. Adam and Adam.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Maybe.
Adam and Adam.
Maybe. I never thought
ATOM
I never thought of
and
that.
ADAM.
Write that down. That's your next
Whoa, Adam and Adam. That's freaky. Anyway, sorry, go on.
So He's saying, God is saying, okay, I have an imperfect universe, but I'm leaving it that way. I can perfect the universe because I'm God, but I don't want to. I'm going to create a very complete and very amazing and very miraculous universe. I'm going to leave it just as short of perfection. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to invent a life form. First of all, I'm going to invent life, and then I'm going to invent a life form that takes the human form that we know. And I'm going to leave it to them, the people on earth, not me, not godly me who can do any fucking thing I want by just thinking it. I'm going to let the human beings as imperfect, and I'm going to create them imperfectly. I'm going to create them, they're stumbling like fools that keep bumping into each other, but I'm going to create them in just that way.
And murder each other?
Yeah, I'm going to charge them with a job. I'm going to leave them as imperfect as they are, but just enough gift, just enough talent, just enough up here.
Yeah.
So I'm going
to be artists.
They're going to finish the job. They're going to finish the job, not me, of perfecting the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? That's Kabbalah, man.
This is why.
So I'm going to sit back and I'm going to give them some guidance. I'm going to give them some laws. But I'm going to sit back and let them work it out. And they'll probably never get there. Or it'll take them years and years and years and centuries and centuries and centuries to get there. But I'm going to watch them do it. And the way they're going to do it is
going to be very entertaining to me.
Yeah, and they're going to be performing virtuous acts. And the idea of the virtuous act, again in Kabbalah, is not just to do good because it's a good thing to do. The virtuous act itself has a cosmic effect that gets the universe and the human race in the universe that much closer, even in a small way, to perfection. So virtue is not just doing good for the sake of doing good, but it's a tool, it's an instrument, it's a catalyst towards moving towards that perfection, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to let them do that, and I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch the show. I'm going to create these people, then I'm going to sit back. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to touch anything. My creating is done. I'm going to watch them work it out and perfect my universe. That will be fun.
Because this is why.
You get that?
Yes.
That's not very far from what you're saying.
Yeah, because
You
also.
see, you're right. If you stick around New York long enough, you become
But
Jewish.
also.
That's true of everybody.
If you stick around New York long enough, you what?
You become Jewish. But it's not just you; it's anybody. Everybody.
No, yeah, that's why the Hasids always ask me if I'm Jewish. They think I'm Jewish or something. I don't know, but anyway,
Well, you can-
I don't care.
Yeah, I've seen
I
Jews-
love being Jewish.
I've seen Hasidic Jews that look like
I'm
you.
very smart and cultured like a Jew, so
yeah.
I fit in. I'm amazing.
You're right.
Anyway,
Jews love
I'm
you.
always persecuted for being amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure you've
Just
had-
like the Jewish.
I'm sure you've had Jewish boyfriends even for a night.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, sure.
they're amazing.
But gay Jewish men?
Even a Hasidic Jew once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he was being a bad boy, and we hooked up, and it was hot.
Was it?
Cause Hasidic Jews are hot.
Are they?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, from a gay perspective. Okay, you're gonna develop that. You bring
Anyway,
that to the open. Bring that to
anyway,
the
whatever.
open mic.
The point is that, okay, this reminded me of a conversation I had with a Christian that was trying to convert people on the street, and I had a conversation, a debate with them of what our disagreement was, because we both agreed on many things: to love, have a family, be a good person.
Right.
And we were like, wait a minute, what do we disagree on? we don't really disagree. The only thing we disagreed on was like, I don't want to go to your church,
Yeah.
right?
The
But
divinity
we
of
really
Jesus.
don't have any disagreements
The
then.
divinity of Jesus, maybe.
But then we realized what the
Who cares?
we realized what the base disagreement was after we discussed it for a while. What I realized is I asked him, you believe, right, that you are a part from God. I believe I'm a part of God. So I believe I am God. He believes he was created and is separate from God. And that was our fundamental disagreement.
Yeah.
Our philosophical, dogmatic baseline disagreement was fascinating. And that's what I realized. He's separate from God. I am God. Or you're God. Everybody's God.
Yeah, there might be elements in the long tradition of Christian
I
thinking
believe
that
I am.
that goes there. It's also
Right.
it's also very it's also very Buddhist.
Yeah, I believe I am the free will of the universe. He believed it was given to him. Right?
Right.
And he's supposed to do whatever with
I'm
it.
more on your side.
Well, that's because even if we are wrong, I'd rather believe in the power of myself than relying on some sexist asshole in the sky. Because guess what? Why does God need a cock? Because now that just makes me think how amazing his cock is. And I'm a top. I don't suck dick. But I would suck God's dick because it must be an amazing cock.
Yeah.
Why does God need that cock? Oh, I know. Because the patriarchy made God a man, not man making us in his image. We made God in our
They never
image.
talk about God.
Because guess what? Exactly.
So-called primitive religions do. When they talk about, like,
that's
origin-
because they're kinky.
Origin stories.
That's because they're kinky.
Yeah, origin stories. You know,
They wanted to fuck God. They wanted God to fuck them. Whatever.
It can get
But
very
anyway,
graphic.
right? It's very kinky. They fetishize their religion. Anyway, because otherwise, what else are you
I
gonna
don't
do?
know,
Life
when
is
God-
boring.
When God visits the Virgin Mary, is there a sex scene? I mean,
Wait, when God what?
visits the Virgin Mary.
Mary, okay,
and
and gives her Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, is there a sex scene?
I
there?
didn't know that.
How does that work?
Wait a minute. No, you know that it's a perfect.
It's an immaculate conception.
Immaculate conception.
So he never lays a finger on her. He's so cool, God. He's so anti-patriarchal.
I didn't know that God came to Mary. I thought Mary just had the perfect baby.
No, God. No, I thought doesn't God?
I didn't
Because
know
it's. How does she get the baby? The baby comes from God.
Right, but I didn't know God had to visit her. I just thought she had the perfect baby.
It's called the Annunciation.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Well, they made it up so they can make up anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is.
Well, it does kind of matter because I mean, there's a made-up story, but these are telling clues.
But that means you're saying that it's not a immaculate conception. That God's ghost did fuck Mary.
No, maybe it was an immaculate conception. So he conceives. Yeah, I think it's like she conceives. Yeah, she conceives.
Oh, I know.
God plants his seed without all that messy physical sex.
Right. Instead of his
Who needs
cock.
That? Who needs that?
Right, instead of his
They're
cock.
making a baby without the
Wait,
sex.
let me say something.
Like in a lab.
Instead of his cock, since he's a ghost, he's able to just grab the semen from his balls, put it into Mary. Right, without the messy sex, he's just, in vitro fertilization through spirit. In vitro through spirit.
It's like in a lab. It's
Yeah.
like a divine lab.
Oh, right. That's why you said that. I wasn't listening because I was more interested in my ego. I'm sorry.
I never
I'm so
interrupted you
sorry.
without something to say.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just sometimes I get excited that I'm gonna forget what I'm gonna say.
You're evolving as a host.
And so as I wait for you to get done talking, which really, like, when you're at the end of a thought, Lehman, you kind of repeat yourself needlessly, and I just can't wait to talk because
I never repeat myself. I'm the soul of economy.
Shut up. I did my part in waiting for you to get done talking, but then you keep going on the repeating, and I'm like, Lehman, I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. I need to say it.
Johnny never said, shut up and let me finish.
Who's Johnny?
To Don Rickles or...
who gives a shit?
Paul Newman.
Who gives a shit about those straight white
Johnny.
men? Those straight white
or to
men.
Anne Margaret.
I'm kidding.
Or to Anne Margaret. Or to Lena Horne.
Or Frank Sinatra.
Well, that's back to the
These
white.
privileged straight white males. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, the problem's not the demographic. It's the hate and the privilege. Anyway. Okay, so Lehman, this was amazing talk. Thank you so much.
Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll invite others.
This felt like a modern day My Dinner with Andre.
A modern day...
Did you ever see it?
Yeah, but it's only like 40 years old. If I'm alive, it's modern.
You're really going to take this as an insult of ageism?
If it happened while I was alive...
You know what I mean. Lehman, you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it's not the
And I'm sorry that your brothers folded and created the crash.
The what?
I'm sorry that your brothers folded and created the stock market crash of 2008.
My brothers... Oh, the Lehman brothers. Oh, yeah. No, you know what I say, because people ask me. That was my grandfather's name in the old country, Lehman, first
Are
name.
you related to the bank?
Two N's. No, people always ask me that. And I don't know why they ask me. I don't know why you're asking me that. That's my first name.
Oh my
Clearly,
God, I'm
the
so
Lehman
stupid.
brothers
I'm
are-
so
that's
stupid.
my
I'm
family
sorry.
name.
I'm an idiot.
No, you're like everybody else.
No, I'm an idiot.
I always get that question.
No, do you know why
But I have
people...
an
No,
answer.
wait.
It's
I
okay,
realize
but I have an
why
answer.
people do that. It sounds like a last name and they forget it's your first name.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah.
And we have this thing where we call people by their last name as
I'm
well.
sure, like, I don't know, Parker Posey. You know Parker Posey?
Yeah.
I'm sure Parker Posey gets asked all the time. Oh, so you get like free games of Monopoly?
Right, because Parker sounds like a last name.
Parker Brothers, yeah, right. You
Yeah.
get that. No. Okay,
Yeah.
so no, I get that question, and I have a ready answer. And they say, "Oh, you got," and I go,
Wait,
no.
who are the Weichselbaums?
There are some famous Weichselbaums, but not the most famous Weichselbaum I can think of. A high school, my high school chum told this to me in a book, an honest to God book. There was a like a pathologist or something, like a scientist, a medical scientist, back in the day, way back in the day. He discovered a very virulent pathogen, like it'll kill you level, and they named it after him. And the Streptococcus, right? Streptococcus, that's always bad. Streptococcus, because it's got coccus in it. Streptococcus Weichselbaumi, with an I at the end, because that's how they do it. It's called the Streptococcus Weichselbaumi. It's this virulent, will kill you microbe with our family name attached to it.
Oh
So
my God.
We killers. We killers.
Oh.
We stone cold killers.
Oh my God. I am so sorry.